So, Lori, tell us just a little bit about how you came up with the idea for the Sisterhood Table and what sparked you to get involved.
Well, what sparked me to get involved is really you and Trisha. You are so just inspiring in everything you do, and the call to the mission is amazing. And you guys just really have a great way of exuding that and living the life that provides to support that mission. So that was the inspiration for getting involved. The reason I wanted to fundraise is because I saw the need. I felt like there was a need for funding. And amongst the great need for service in the identifying, exiting, restore all the pillars, and that need was kind of lost in translation. I felt like we are calling all of you who are watching this video to just, gather with your friends, do what women do best. We talk, we support each other, we decorate, and just embrace those real natural things and talk about the real issues and take all those strengths and just make a difference in your community.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Sisterhood Table Unbound. My name is Ria Story.
And I'm Trisha Lee. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for giving us your first yes, your yes to accepting the invitation to be a part of the Sisterhood Table event.
We're here to bring real world awareness to this issue. This is more than just the moment. This is the movement. We want to bring awareness to each one of us and empower every single person in our communities to tackle what is not just a global issue, but trafficking is happening right here in our communities.
Yes, absolutely. And the message that we're about to share tonight, it may begin to feel a little bit overwhelming, but please rest assured, our message is simply about bringing awareness and empowering you right here tonight at this table to do something about it. And so how are we going to do that? At She's My Sister, the organization who is responsible for launching this initiative, believes there are 4 pillars to freedom. The first pillar is prevention. And we know the number one tool for preventing trafficking and exploitation is awareness. And so we are just inviting women all across the country to become comfortable having uncomfortable conversations, as we know that will be the number one tool in aiding in awareness.
Absolutely. We have realized that change doesn't happen with policies and programs. Change begins with people and begins with each one of us stepping up and taking a part right where we can, right where we feel called to get involved. It doesn't have to be difficult. It doesn't have to be complicated. It just has to be each one of us who feel called with a heart to serve to get involved. And She's My Sister is ready to empower you and equip you to get involved in concrete ways that you understand each one of us makes a difference.
And so the next pillar of our 4 pillars of freedom is identification. And you may be wondering, what is my role in identifying? The number one thing, again, is conversation. There may be someone at your table who says, you know what, me too. We speak often, and most times someone will come up to us at some point and say, this story happened to my neighbor's son or my neighbor's daughter. So identification really can just happen, again, through conversation.
Mm. It's sad and it's unfortunate because so many of us think that trafficking is something that happens in other countries, in third world countries, right, across the ocean. We don't realize necessarily just how close to home this issue is, but it absolutely is happening in schools. Peers are exploiting peers, even among student population. The average age that someone is brought into being trafficked is 14 years of age.
14 years of age. And, most of us as parents, when our children are little, we talk about stranger danger. But are we continuing that conversation through the middle school years and the high school years? Because truthfully, we have thousands of teenagers and young adolescents who are being exploited every day here in communities all across America. And that's why these conversations are so important to prevent this.
The third pillar is exit, right? She's My Sister. Once we have identified someone who's in a trafficking situation or being exploited, we want to help that woman exit. And it is difficult to leave such a situation. It takes sometimes several attempts for her to be willing and have the courage to step out. And when someone who's being exploited gathers up that courage and is ready to take that first step towards restoration and healing, what we've identified is that they need resources.
Yes.
They need resources first and foremost. Often when a woman is being exploited and she makes the decision to leave, whether that happens through law enforcement or through a medical facility, she's often forced to leave her situation with nothing but the clothes on her back.
The organization, She's My Sister, those are the very things that we help with. We help with the safe exit, whether it's providing safe transportation from the trafficking situation or to the bus station or to the airport. We also provide clothing. If a survivor is working with law enforcement and agrees to an examination, a lot of times her clothes are bagged. They're taken in their bag. We also pay for counseling. Counseling sessions are so important as we walk alongside the survivor. Our next pillar is restoration. We believe that we are here to walk along survivors, not in front of, but to walk alongside them and provide them with access to the pathways to freedom so they can live the life that God designed for them to live. And that path to restoration is going to look very different for every survivor who we walk alongside. So the resources that we have at She's My Sister, they are designed to provide each woman what she needs on a case-by-case basis.
That is so important because as a survivor myself, I know firsthand just how important those programs and pathways to healing. Starting that restoration journey is often messy and complicated, and it doesn't look like a linear journey most of the time. And one of the key factors to helping a survivor rebuild a healthy identity after trauma is the social support around her. The right people learning and teaching her to set appropriate boundaries. What does a healthy relationship look like? What are the things that she should be looking at for red flags in future relationships in her life? And often these women don't have a healthy model from their childhood for what healthy relationships look like. A healthy relationship with themselves and identity and their sense of self-worth, and then also healthy relationships with the other people in their lives. Significant others, restoration with family, even children sometimes. It's difficult to navigate those relationships. And so we know that all we can do is provide the resources and help facilitate that healing journey.
And I love how you were talking so much about relationships because that relationship piece is so critical, not just in that restorative process, but also in the prevention process. And so what brought you here tonight is some sort of relationship, whether it's a relationship with friends or family or with your church or with the people that you work with. So we're just so grateful that you said yes to the relationship that brought you here to tonight's table.
Absolutely. You're here for a bit of fun, a little bit of fellowship, and we're also going to hopefully give you some awareness, some information to walk away with, just to raise that level of awareness so that each one of us, again, are aware of what some of these signs and symptoms might look like, because we want to empower every single person to be able to take a small part in stopping this evil.
So thank you for saying yes to your first part, to being here.
We are going to turn this over to your table host at this point. They've got some talking points. And again, make some memories tonight with those sitting around you, because you know one thing that each one of you have in common is you're willing to stand up and say, this is not going to happen in my community any longer.
Thank you.